By 1995, Mortal Kombat had cemented itself as one of the most iconic video game series of all time. It had dominated both arcades and people's homes, thanks to ports of MK1, 2, and 3 for Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. So it made sense to jump from gaming to the big screen with a big budget movie adaptation. Unlike any big movie in the 90s, there were many movie tie-ins, like action figures, a straight to VHS animated special, the live tour, and much more. Let's get into it. Despite the popularity of the video game and the excitement for the movie, a lot of companies and a lot of licensors stayed away from the project, despite it being rated PG-13, because the level of violence and the controversy surrounding the video games was just too high for many companies, like the fast food ones for example, which stayed away completely. The controversies even led to a congressional hearing about video game violence, and it made lawyer Jack Thompson into an infamous figure among gamers. Many people credit the Mortal Kombat franchise for being responsible for the creation of the ESRB, which is the Video Games Ratings Board, much like how many people credit Indiana Jones 2 for the creation of the modern movie rating system and the introduction of the PG-13 rating. But despite all this, not everyone stayed away from the movie and the games, and that means that we got toys and action figures in time for the movie, although they were more inspired by the game than the movie. The toys were made by Hasbro, and they were 3.75-inch action figures made in the O-ring style, just like the 80s G.I. Joe toys. And I love 3 3/4 figures, by the way, and 4-inch figures and all those smaller scales. Those are the world-building scales, like Star Wars TVC for example, but they cheapened out with this toy line. There was a lot of corner cutting in this line and some nasty tooling reuse. They made these figures by retooling and kit bashing sculpts from the G.I. Joe line. The most obvious example is probably Tsung. He looks nothing like he does in the games, or the movie. And the second figure they made of him, which was labeled as movie inspired, was just an unreleased figure from the G.I. Joe line. Lame. Luckily many other characters fared better. The ninjas all looked nice, and there were some cool world building elements in the line, like the combat cycle, the Dragon NK1 boat, and the ship. And the Goro figure was impressive. It was big, it had a lot of articulation, it had the forearms you expect, and it came in a 2-pack with Johnny Cage. Overall it was an okay toy line, I guess, at best. Other companies would tackle MK over the years, like Toy Island and Mezco, and most did a better job with the license than Hasbro did. Jaspers did a really good job around the time of the Mortal Kombat soft reboot on PS3, and I have the Scorpion and Sub-Zero figure back here on my toy shelf. They did both 6-inch figures and 3.75 figures. And McFarlane has also done MK and is about to return to the license once more with the Mortal Kombat Classics line later this year. I am really looking forward to those. And a shout out to my friend G, who gave me all his childhood Mortal Kombat toys some years ago. I need to find them. They're in a bag somewhere. I think I have 3 of the ninjas, Shang, and possibly Raiden too. I have to say that we need a toy line based on this movie, specifically on this movie, on the designs we see on screen and the likenesses of the actors from this movie. Maybe McFarlane would do figures based on this film at some point, and maybe even from the rebooted movie series as well. Fingers crossed. Time will tell. There was a half-hour straight-to-VHS animated movie. It was called Mortal Kombat: The Legend Begins. Although it might be a stretch to call it a movie, let's call it an animated project. And it was inspired by the first Mortal Kombat game, just like the live-action movie was. And yes, it was very low budget. It had very stiff and wonky animation, and it had a very jarring mix of 2D animation with CG animation, like when backgrounds like boats and forests are CG, but the characters are 2D. And there's a bunch of fight scenes that were made completely with CG that stand out like a sore thumb. It might have been kinda neat and innovative at the time, but those scenes look really bad right now. It's so bad that in comparison, they make Mortal Kombat 4 look like a modern day Mortal Kombat game. The CGI looked iffy back then and looks super dated and bad now. The limbs look and move so weird, the textures are very low res, and there's so much corner cutting. Look at the first fight, the one with Shang Tsung and the leader of the monks. Their mouths remain open most of the time in the wider shots, and it looks very weird and off-putting. And the 2D animation isn't much better. Proportions are off, faces look weird, movement is clunky, and the fight scenes are horrible. And they love to reuse animations a lot. It's copy-paste, copy-paste, copy-paste. I rewatched it in preparation for this video. I hadn't seen it since 1995, and I did kind of enjoy it because it did bring me nostalgia, and it screams 1995 in so many ways, like with the outdated CGI. And seeing the ads from the MK fan club was cool, and the behind the scenes preview of the movie is very cool. and that footage from the movie was the best reason to buy and watch this in 1995. It's not something I would describe as good, far from it, but it's part of MK history, and if you have never seen it, you really should. But check it out during like a bad movie night, with friends. There was an animated TV show made a little bit later in the 90s. It was called Defenders of the Realm, and even a live action show was made called Conquest. Those are not tie-ins for this movie, so I'm not going to go into those projects here, but I wanted to give them a little shout out, a quick one, since they are 1990s MK projects, just like this movie. At some point I do need to tackle the sequels, the reboots, and the cartoons here on this channel, so stay tuned to the channel if you don't want to miss out. The live tour also happened in 1995. It traveled all across the United States and went international the following year. It was basically a stunt show consisting of choreographed fights between characters from the games. It looks really cool and the costumes are straight out of the game. So if you did go to the tour and you went in wanting to see fighting on stage, then I'm sure you got what you wanted from the live tour. There were trading cards by Skybox and they look really nice. I don't remember seeing them back in the day. I'm seeing them now online and they look really cool. And surprisingly, they made a sticker album. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's possible that I had that sticker album back in the day, because I got some feelings of deja vu when I was looking at the images online. So it's possible. Maybe. Just maybe. And there were books made, like various novelizations, and the behind the scenes book as well. Comic books were made around that time based on the games. There was clothing like t-shirts. The soundtrack and the VHS came out that year, and that's how I saw the movie, on VHS, when my brother rented the VHS at Blockbuster or at Video Avenue. And some years later we would get DVDs, and many years later we would get Blu-rays of both the first movie and its inferior sequel, MK Annihilation. There was a lot of TV coverage about this movie, but too much was spent on the violence controversy. Many dumb headlines went like, "Should you let your kids see the violent Mortal Kombat movie?" That kind of sensationalist nonsense. Which was really dumb because the movie was PG-13. The games might have been mature, but the movie was much tamer. It wasn't R-rated. And yes, behind the scenes specials were made, like the one in the animated VHS. If you look online, you will see that there was some marketing going on, and they were calling 1995 the year of Mortal Kombat. And it's true, it was the year of MK, because that year saw MK3 come to arcades and home consoles. There were action figures, animated projects, the stage show, and last but not least, the live action movie. And this movie knew what it was. It was an over-the-top, somewhat violent, somewhat corny martial arts B-movie, and it reveled in that. It did its best to be the best dumb action movie it could be, and it succeeded, and we enjoyed seeing the end result of that. And while I did just call it dumb, it's not really a dumb movie. I think it's actually a pretty good movie. It's certainly better than a lot of people give it credit. I rewatched it not too long ago, and I had a blast watching it. The fights are fun to watch, the actors all do a good job in their respective roles, and I love the look of the film, like the set design and the production design, the costumes and much more. They did a good job with how they brought Outworld and its many denizens into live action. It's both respectful to the early games and what we see in the gameplay, the cutscenes and the manuals, but it also changes and tweaks things respectfully in order to make things work in another medium, specifically in the movie form and live action form. I prefer the look and the vibe of this movie to the 2020 reboot. But to be clear, I did enjoy the new movie, and its sequel looks like it will be a good movie too, but the new movies are a bit bland at times. Some things look really good, like Sub-Zero's costume, which is more complex and more like recent costumes from the newer games, but other things look too generic, and some things just look weird, like I don't like Scorpion's movie design, for example. The old movie had more style, and it oozed a lot of personality, and I love all the practical effects, like Goro being an animatronic instead of being CGI like in the new movie. And the movie has survived time and is still relevant. It's beloved by fans today, and it continues to influence the franchise. Some of the costumes from the movie have shown up as DLC in recent games, and the Shang actor Keri Hiroyuki played the new version of the character in the canon of the Mortal Kombat Legacy web series. And that theme is iconic and it's always popping up in pop culture. It will never go away, and I'm fine with that. I love that theme. And I like this movie. I like it a lot. I think it's one of Paul Anderson's best movies. It's up there with Event Horizon and the first AVP, and much higher than the Resident Evil movies, in my opinion anyway. And the tie-ins that we got were pretty cool. I will remember this movie, the catchy theme song, all the toys and the tie-ins, and the summer of 1995 in general for the rest of my life. Thank you for watching, it means a lot, it always does. And if you like the Mortal Kombat movie and its many tie-ins, then let's chat in the comments. And not just about the film, let's discuss the franchise in general. Also, this video is not our first hype, tie-ins, and toys video. We've also done Revenge of the Sith, Batman Forever, and Power Rangers the movie, and we have more on the way, so feel free to check them out, and we have many playlists for your convenience when watching videos. And if you like Mortal Kombat, movies, TV shows, video games, toys, and if you're a nostalgic person, then this is your channel. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.